Hi, I'm Dr. Saun Chaidaroon from the National University of Singapore. I'm working in the Department of Communications and New Media at the university. As you can tell from my name, I'm Thai, but I live and work in Singapore. Singapore is such a diverse place where we have students from all around the world, especially in Southeast Asia. So I welcome everyone to visit the National University of Singapore whenever you have a chance. Studying communication is a very exciting field because it's very practical and theoretical at the same time. So it's very important to choose the right place to study communication, and I would like to encourage you to consider National University of Singapore for a few reasons. Number one, Singapore, National University of Singapore is highly ranked in the world. So you will study communication with the top researchers in the field. That means academically speaking, you will study with the best professors in the world. Number two, Singapore is the media hub in Southeast Asia. So that means you will have a great opportunity to study and network with media professionals in Southeast Asia at the same time. And that's going to be a very exciting opportunity for all the students, especially from Southeast Asia, to come and study with us in Singapore. I think all the students who will be studying communication needs to improve three skills in particular. The first skill is the analytical thinking skills. That means whenever they face any problems, they should be able to analyze the problems through data, through information that they have. And then the second skill that they have to have is strategic thinking skill. Once analyzing the data, they will have to be able to make good decision and plan strategically for campaigns, for media choices that they want to use. And finally, the last skill that they have to improve themselves is the critical thinking skills. That means they have to think outside the box and try to question the way media and communication is practiced so that they can create the responsible message to tell the whole world about their campaigns, about their communication messages here. And with our Master of Communication program, we equip students with all these three skills: critical thinking skill, analytical thinking skill, and finally, strategic planning skills. So that's what you will be learning in the program. There are three specializations in the Master of Communication that the students can choose to master their skills. The first specialization is called strategic communication. That is the traditional advertising and public relations, if you will. But these days we call it strategic communication because advertising and public relations are not practiced only by the corporations. Even government, non-profit organizations, or any small medium enterprises, they have to communicate strategically with stakeholders. So that's the first area. The second area is called global media communication. Global media communication study how media is practiced all around the world, and Singapore is such a diverse place where you can study media for Malays, media for Chinese, and media for other Southeast Asian countries. And that's a perfect area for people who wants to expand their networks globally and work with the international audiences. And the final area that is quite exciting for our field is data communication. Because these days, for any communication specialist, they have to learn to be able to make sense and make a good decision based on the data that they have. At the same time, they have to learn to improve the way they tell stories with data. Because even journalists, when they present news stories about the weather forecast or any other social issue, you will see that sometimes they talk about graphs and charts. How are they going to communicate those stories interestingly to the audience and persuasively and at the same time ethically as well. So those are the three areas. And if you match the three areas that I introduced earlier with the skills that we want to develop in our students, you will see that data communication will help students improve their analytical skills. Global media communication will help improve students' critical thinking skills. And finally, strategic communication will help students improve strategic thinking skills. So, all in all, students will improve all these three skills. If they choose not to have any specialization, they can do that as well because our program will have three core courses where they will be introduced to all these three areas and then seven elective subjects. So altogether, students will choose or will take 10 courses. Now, out of the seven elective subjects, students will have to take three subjects from each specialization to be qualified as data communication student, strategic communication students, or global media communication students. But students may choose to be a generalist as well. That depends on the student's choice. And I hope that will give students flexibility to choose whatever they want to be in the future. Wow, that's a big question. The field of communication evolves a lot, and I think these days, everyone from any background needs to have media and communication skills because anyone can create content and present it to the society. That's mainly because the emergence of social media or digital media platform where anyone can be media quite easily. I'm sure that everyone who is watching this video, some of you have your own TikTok or YouTube channels too, or even Instagram, right? So that means anyone can be content creator. Anyone can be a communication professional, whether you want to be the main or use communication skills as your main career, or you want to use communication skills as the secondary skills that you want to use to supplement any other careers that you are pursuing. So that's why I think this question is big because it depends on how do you want to make use of the media and communication skills. Now, going back to the question, how does the field evolve? It evolves with the emergence of this digital and social media because it helps everyone to be media creator, content creator. That's number one. Number two, I think this digital platform is affected is affected by the cultural and social factors. For instance, we all know that some social media platform can be used in some countries quite freely, and in the other countries, some platforms are banned or cannot be used. So you have to be aware of all those social and political factors in making a decision, a good decision about which social media platform you want to use and can be used in certain region that you want to communicate your message. And finally, I think it evolves in such a way that it affects the cultural aspect of the society as well. I just gave a talk and we did some polling among audiences around the world. I found that some people are very comfortable being a fan of social media, virtual influencer. I hope you heard of this term before, right? We have influencers who are human beings, and these days we have influencers who are not actually even human beings, but they are created by generative AIs using artificial intelligence to create a character. And a lot of people become fans of those AI created characters. Now, some people are comfortable with that. There are people who are not comfortable with that. That means, culturally speaking, we have to be very understanding and be open minded about people's perception about the media that is being created by digital media or digital tools here as well, right? So I think those are a lot of exciting phenomenon that is happening based on the evolving media landscape. And that's why we still need to study communication. That's another big question too. AI, artificial intelligence, right? Generally speaking, is created to help all human beings to work more efficiently because it helps us to complete all the work um, that is more of like the routine work through automation. And then humans beings do not have to deal with all those routine work. But these days, there's another type of AI called generative AI, where content can be created by technology, by computers, and human being is just the people who will monitor, who will edit all those contents that are created by generative AI. So you will see that, this video that you are watching, it's really me. But some of the companies can even create the video that is not from me, right? They can just clone me and use the generative AI to create the video. Now with the AI, right, there are a lot of implications for communication practitioners. That means number one, the content can be created a lot faster, meaning that you don't have to schedule a lot of meetings with people you want to interview to create the video. And number two, the content can be more flexible, can be more creative because AI can help you brainstorm. But at the same time, there are a lot of ethical, legal implications too that we have to be aware of. For example, if you want to create a video of me without actually interviewing me, what would be the legal implications? What would be the ethical implications? And communication practitioners, regulators, and policymakers will have to sit down together and come up with the proper solution for the society. That's for AI. Now, for another technological tool, augmented reality or virtual reality, that is also changing the landscape of media and communication practitioners. In the past, if you want to run any campaign, right, you have to use the dry messages or dry media to communicate with the audience. And when I say dry here, it's pretty much like the one-way communication. You watch the video, you might not be able to get yourself into the video that much. But these days you have tools like 360 videos where you can watch the video and feel almost like you are in that environment by yourself. Augmented reality and virtual reality will take it even further because sometimes you will see that, if you travel to some areas, especially in countries like Singapore, where technology is very advanced, you can pick up your phone and you can scan the QR code at different places in Singapore. You will see that there will be someone popping up on the screen of your phone explaining to you what's the importance of that particular area in Singapore. That is the use of technology, the use of augmented reality, right? The person on your phone is not in the real physical environment, but she pop up on your phone just to explain to you the importance of that touristic area in Singapore. Now, can you imagine how can that be used in communication? It can be used in so many areas, like when you run a campaign, when you run a promotion of your tourist attraction in the country. And that's the job, the creative job of communication practitioners in the future. And our program is teaching all those skills to the students. So I hope that in the future, if you are communication practitioners, you can learn to use AI, AR, or VR creatively, ethically, and responsibly for your future work. Well, that's actually another big question here, and I think we have so many courses in the program that touch on the effects of media in the society, right? And with my answers to other questions, I probably highlight so many aspects about the goods and bads of media in the society to all of you already. But let's just pick one thing here that we can focus on, and then you will see the good and bad of that. Let's focus on just the fact that everyone can create content on media these days, right? The good thing is that you can be a communicator, you can be a media producer, you can create TikTok video in just 30 seconds these days. Now, that's very good because it democratizes the use of media, meaning that from now on, anyone with just a good phone, you can be a media creator already, right? It democratizes media production mainly because everyone at all can be media producers. If you are even like a grassroots advocacy practitioners, you want to help the society become aware of global warming problems, you can take a good video with just a phone that you have, right? That's easy. But the challenge is that with that great power of using or creating media quite easily, it comes with great responsibility, right? That's the philosophy of Spider-Man. If you remember from the movie, I think everyone, since you can create the content and post on YouTube, you have to take full responsibility of what you create by themselves. You cannot say everything without doing a proper research because there will be legal ramification. If you say something wrong, people can sue you based on the message that you create. And if you think that, hey, if I say something wrong, I can delete the video, think twice because even though you think that you can delete the video that you post already, the audience out there might capture that video already, might record that video already, right? So, with the freedom that you have in creating the media alone, it's both good and bad, as you can see. And I just think that that's just one item that I'm sharing with you now. There's so many other things besides the freedom of speech that you have with the digital media platform. But there are so many other things that you might need to think about the goods and bads of digital media here too. Like everything that you do, um, you can consume information, but at the same time, the fact that you watch my YouTube right now, your IP, your identity is being traced by the central system already, right? So there's no such a thing as privacy anymore because the footstep that you watch any video or step on any social media platform, the system captures you already that you have watched this video and that's going to be your preference in the future. The algorithm and all that will capture what do you want. But is that what you really want to watch in the future? You might just come by and watch this video for just one time. So that is the good and bad at the same time, right? So there are so many other aspects of the goods and bads of digital media here that is happening in our society these days. I encourage you to think critically and try to come and study with us further if you are interested in debating and finding the best and proper way of practicing, creating, and consuming social media content in the future. Well, big data is very important for communication practitioners these days. Let's talk about what is it first, what it is. Big data is the kind of amount of data that is really, really big and is not collected, that those data were not collected by communication practitioners or the organization by themselves. Usually, big data are collected by some giant organizations, like for example, the government or social media owners like Facebook. They can have their own pool of big data. Twitter or X, they have their own pool of big data. And every government in the world, right, they have the statistical bureau of this and that country. And we call that big data because the amount of numbers and statistics that they collect is very huge. It covers everyone in the country, for instance, right? Now, with that nature of big data, it offers a lot of insights to communication practitioners because let's say if you want to market something in Indonesia, you know which part of Indonesia has more rich people, has more middle class people, or has more people from other religions that you can sell the products to and stuff, right? So big data can help you make a decision like that. But now keep in mind, there are some features of big data that communication practitioners need to be aware of. Number one, big data is not collected by your own organization. It's collected by the government, collected by social media organizations, right? So you need to learn to make sense of the data collected by all those organizations because the data were not collected by you. So you have to make use of the ready-made of the organization. We call it repurposing the data for your own purpose. Number two, big data moves very fast, change very fast. Can you imagine if you are still on Facebook? I don't know whether you are still using Facebook, right? Depending on your generation, a lot of people use Instagram, right? Facebook has that feature of like mark safe when there is natural disaster, like let's say earthquake, and then if you have account on Facebook, you can click that I'm safe on in this region, in this area, right? So can you imagine like every second that the earthquake happened and then people click mark safe, I'm safe here in this region, the number of people will change every single second. So big data can change very fast, just like that. So communication people, if you want to run a campaign, if you want to report news in that situation, you have to be mindful that the data that you report at this moment will change the next minute. And that's the implication of big data. So that means communication practitioners, from now on, we have to learn to make sense of big data. We need to learn how to report big data. And we need to learn how to manage big data, the amount of data that we did not collect by ourselves, that change every second. So it's very important for us to equip ourselves with all these skills these days.
If you are interested in entering a master degree in communication at National University of Singapore, Interest Education is ready to help you. You can chat us contact number in the comments column.